thank you all for joining us today for the inaugural IEO Evaluation Excellence Awards, recognizing the winners of the 2020 Evaluation Excellence Awards. We are joined today by a very eminent panel, including Usha Rao-Monari, UNDP Associate Administrator, Haoliang, UN Assistant General Secretary, and of course, Director of the Bureau for Policy and Program Support. Priti Sinha, the new Executive Secretary of UNCDF. Mr. Toili Kurbanov, the UN Executive Coordinator, the UNV Executive Coordinator. And we're also joined by 4 representatives from UNDP country offices. Matilda Maud, the UNDP Ecuador Resident Representative, Shani Labe, UNDP Nepal Resident Representative, Samuel Doe, Resident Representative from UNDP South Sudan, and Mr. Robert Stolman, who's the Program Manager of the Partnership for a Tolerant, Inclusive Bangladesh Program as part of UNDP Bangladesh. And of course, we have the Director of the Independent Evaluation Office, Oscar Garcia, and 2 further colleagues from IEO, Heather Bryant and Alan Fox, who's the Deputy Director. We're also happy to welcome Claudia Donado, who is a member of the IEO Evaluation Advisory Panel, and who judged the Innovation Evaluation Award, but is also the Professor of Public Administration at the Center for Research and Teaching in Economics in Mexico City. We are going to recognize today awards across 3 areas: innovative evaluations, gender responsive evaluations, and finally outstanding evaluations. These evaluations went through a very stringent and highly competitive review of some 170 evaluations using the IEO quality assessment process, and were shortlisted down to a handful of evaluations which were reviewed by 3 of our IEO Evaluation Advisory Panel members before the awards were given. At the end of this morning, following the award ceremony, we'll have some time for questions for the award winners. So if you have any questions, please put them in the chat. And also, if you could, if they're targeted questions, please name who they're for. And without much further ado, I would like to call on Usha Rao-Monari to make the initial opening remarks. Thank you. Over to you, Usha.
Thank you very much, Richard. Good morning to everyone. Oscar, Haoliang, thank you for including me in this incredibly important event and ceremony. I'm very proud, I'm very delighted actually to celebrate this inaugural work in evaluation of 4 country offices. As Richard said, Bangladesh, Ecuador, Nepal, South Sudan. Excellent, excellent work, congratulations. UNV as well as UNCDF here today. I guess, I was given talking points, thank you, Oscar, but I'm going to go a bit off track here because I think that evaluation, I have to say, is one of the most critical tools an organization can have. When you consider any results-oriented organization in the world, and it doesn't matter whether it's profit-based or non-profit-based or a development institution, any results-oriented organization uses evaluation and regular evaluation as a tool towards excellence. Some of you may know, I came from the World Bank Group before I joined Blackstone, and both institutions in their own way and in their own methodologies used evaluation as a continuation of governance tool. In that respect, timely, evidence-based, well-designed evaluation is something that an organization should aspire to. And I'm very, very proud that UNDP has a function such as this that is performing at a very, very high level. I think beyond just simply governance, good evaluation or strong evaluation is also a tool for decision-making. Whether it is decision-making at my level or the regional bureaus, the functional bureaus, everybody needs to be able to look back and see what they've done well and what are lessons learned. And I think it's really important that such evaluation, and Oscar and I were talking about it, that it be data-driven, evidence-based, obviously not speculative in any way at all. And I think that once we have data-driven evaluation tools and analyses, we can actually improve, adjust, modify, if you will, our programs, even our policies. I am very, very proud to be part of UNDP, which is an organization that is striving for excellence on a day-to-day basis under the leadership of our administrator, and I am proud to be part of this. I think one of the things I learned very early on when I joined the organization, only a month ago, but nevertheless, was this need to capture lessons, both good and not so good, and use them to inform and formulate our future actions. I think also, you know, when you do evaluation, it becomes a tool that can be shown to others as a point of excellence in our organization. So I think that when you have a good evaluative function, the work that comes out of the function that can be used to illustrate, if you will, the impact and power of the work that we do on a daily basis. I think it's really, really important that evaluation is not some sort of, and this is very important to me, it comes out of my experience of, you know, however many years. Evaluation is not something that's sort of added on to an organization. It's part of the lifeblood of an organization, and it should really come down and manifest itself in terms of commitment at the highest levels of leadership. Certainly, I speak for our administrator, and certainly for me, we are committed to this function. We are committed to improving this as we go along and showing our partners, our member states, etc., you know, the kind of work that we do and, you know, the lessons that we've learned. Coming back to these awards, which I find very, very exciting, and congratulations, Oscar and Haoliang, and to the team for having this award ceremony, because what it does is shine a light, a very important light, on a very important function. And I think that, you know, I want to thank all of you for even putting together these awards and the judging panel to actually find, among all the good work that's been done, 6 winning agencies for their continued work in building a culture of evaluation across IEO. I say that from the bottom of my heart. I think this is an excellent ceremony, and I think it's an excellent ceremony that tops a very, very effective evaluation function. So thank you all. I hope that everybody's very, very happy with the awards. Congratulations to the awardees. And I'm going to hand it back to you, Richard. Thank you very, very much.
Thank you, Usha, for your kind words and your support to the evaluation function. Haoliang, I'd like to now introduce Haoliang Xu to give a few opening remarks. Haoliang.
Yeah, thank you very much. Appreciate it, and thank you, Usha and Oscar, for inviting me to this event. So I'm very happy to join this first Evaluation Excellence, award ceremony. And I would like to thank Oscar and his team, for this great initiative, which aims to promote the recognition and the use of high-quality decentralized evaluations across the UNDP. And we highly appreciate the IEO's continuous efforts to increase the quality and the coverage of decentralized evaluations through regional workshops, webinars, online trainings, and a range of excellent knowledge products. So for this ceremony, I note that the quality of decentralized evaluations has actually increased in 2020, a very difficult year. And 1/3 of the evaluations were rated as satisfactory, a 10% increase compared to 2019. And another 55%, were considered moderately satisfactory. And in RBAP region, in particular, 43% of the decentralized evaluations were rated as satisfactory. So I think this is a good and significant improvement over the previous years. And together with the IEO, we, at BPPS, and also in fact the larger OPG, constituency, the regional bureaus and other central bureaus, have been making efforts to enhance the quality and the coverage of the evaluations to ensure that our work is informed and strengthened by objective evidence. So we have worked with IEO, for example, to develop the evaluation scorecard, which allows UNDP managers and staff members to track real time, right, to have an overview of critical evaluation performance. And also, we have established the evaluation express roster, right, to ensure that we don't go through lengthy and repetitive recruitment processes that causes significant delays in the past. So now we have over 30 vetted and qualified evaluation experts representing diverse mix of geographic regions, and also language, gender, thematic expertise. And this year we're going to put in further efforts to strengthen our evaluation function. And the Evaluation Excellence Award ceremony is really a great example, for us to learn, lessons from these, practices. So the winners today will serve as an inspiration and a role model for all of us, in different, units and country offices in UNDP. So thank you very much, Oscar and the colleagues, for this opportunity to be here, and sincere congratulations to the winners. So over to you, Richard.
Thank you, Haoliang. And a lot of the changes that have happened over the last few years have in no small part been because of a partnership between IEO and BPPS and a focus on improving evaluation and decentralized evaluation. So thank you, Haoliang, to you and your team. Now I'd like to open the floor or hand the floor to the director of IEO, Mr. Oscar Garcia, for his own opening remarks. Oscar, thank you.
Thank you very much, Richard. Thank you very much, Usha and Haoliang, for those very encouraging words. Usha, Haoliang, award-winning recipients, colleagues from around the world, we are delighted to have you among us in this launch of the Evaluation Excellence Awards. In 2020, the Independent Evaluation Office established this award mechanism as part of our efforts to promote recognition and the use of high-quality decentralized evaluation across UNDP. As mentioned by Haoliang, 2020 was a very difficult year for all of us, and UNDP had to adjust its way of operating, and so did the Independent Evaluation Office. And therefore, despite the difficult circumstances, last year more than 250 decentralized evaluations were conducted in UNDP. And as we were also very pleased to see that the quality of this decentralized evaluations are slightly improving. And of course, this is the effort of a number of people working tirelessly around the globe and around the organization. And we know that evaluations are exercises that require a lot of energy, a lot of time, a lot of effort, and therefore they should be more useful, because this is exactly what we want to promote and to incentivize, that evaluation is an important mechanism for improving the quality of decision making, as so well said by our Associate Administrator, Usha Rao-Monari. It is in that sense that high quality evaluations, thoughtfully conceived and used, are fundamental to timely informed decision making, gauging organizational performance, and improving development results, enhancing the relevance, the coherence, and effectiveness of UNDP's work around the globe. As the world faces the wide-range impacts of COVID-19, and with less than 10 years to deliver the Sustainable Development Goals, Learning from experience and ensuring the quality and results of work will be more instrumental than ever in supporting UNDP and partner countries in securing development solutions and a strong recovery from the pandemic, hopefully to build forward better than where we were. So today we gather virtually to celebrate the 2020 Evaluation Excellence Awards, recognizing 6 award-winning decentralized evaluations chosen from over 250 evaluations implemented during 2020. This is the first of such awards recognized by the Independent Evaluation Office and by UNDP, and we will continue to do so. We wanted, as said by my predecessors, to recognize and to incentivize good practices, and therefore we are here looking forward to learn from your example of the 6 awardees and winners, and please receive my warmest congratulations for a job very well done. Thank you very much for being with us here today. Over to you, Richard.
Thank you, Oscar, Usha, and Haoliang for your very inspirational words, and obviously for your support as well to the awards and to evaluation. I'd now like to, as the moderator / presenter of the awards, I'd like to open the floor and hand over to Alan Fox, who will present the first, the Deputy Director of IEO, who will present the first of the awards for innovation. Alan.
So good morning, afternoon and evening, colleagues. I'm pleased to present the first set of awards which focus on innovation. All of us are very familiar with the word innovation. It is intoned like a mantra across the global work of this and most organizations. In these trying times, it is crucial to develop novel and useful ideas and techniques to meet the development challenges that we face. Well, as it goes across the rest of the organization, so too with evaluation. Evaluators are challenged by new demands, country context changes, resource changes, of course, the COVID-19 and other crises, which require the use of new evaluation tools, methods, and approaches. The IEO has launched its own set of innovative approaches during the pandemic, including an artificial intelligence tool, AIDA, helping us better capture the lessons from the more than 5,000 evaluations commissioned and carried out by UNDP over the last 20 years. But today it's my honor to announce the 2 2020 Innovative Evaluation Award winners. First up is the final evaluation of the Peace and Community Cohesion Project, commissioned by UNDP South Sudan. In selecting this project, the judges noted that it puts mixed methods approaches at the service of giving voice and visibility to program participants as protagonists, telling a human story from which valuable lessons can be extracted. And the second innovation award goes to the final evaluation of the Partnership for a Tolerant, Inclusive Bangladesh, or the PTIB project, which was commissioned by UNDP Bangladesh. And here the judges found the PTIB evaluation to be a good example of the type of innovations expected from evaluation in order to build back better. Methodologically adaptive and innovative, proactively inclusive, comprehensively committed to leaving no one behind, and willing to go the extra mile beyond standard performance measures and benchmarks in order to produce forward-looking learning and effective communicating lessons for decision-making. So colleagues, please join me in congratulating UNDP Bangladesh and UNDP South Sudan for these evaluation achievements. And I now invite the 2 winners to say a few words, starting with Samuel Doe, Resident Representative, UNDP South Sudan, and then Rob Stolman, the Program Manager for the PTIB project, UNDP Bangladesh. Samuel, please, you have the floor.
Thank you very much, and we want to recognize the Associate Administrator who is present with us, and all of our senior colleagues who also joined. I, on behalf of the country office in South Sudan, extremely excited to receive the Innovation Award on evaluation today. On behalf of the team, I want to really recognize my predecessor, Dr. Kamaluddin, who was the resident representative during this period. I also want to recognize Judith Wakayu, who is the head of the Peace and Community Cohesion Program, who has been a strong leader for this program. As you all have recognized, the innovation of evaluation was primarily a result of the design of the project itself. In the design of the project, the community leadership was at the center through it all. As you know, South Sudan is a country of complex emergency with ongoing conflict across the country. So access challenge, humanitarian crisis, all of that were taken into consideration in the design of the project. So as a result, in the evaluation, it was quite easy because the institutional framework, the leadership at the community level was there, and it made it easy to choose a mixed method in the design, which recognized the perspective of the community in terms of the impact the project is making through a quantitative survey, and then a human story of the direct personal experience with peace and community cohesion that the project was realizing in the community, in the individual lives of those touched by the project. These human stories and success stories became the hallmark of the success that we all celebrate today in the evaluation. The combination of using national expertise to lead the evaluation, combined with international expertise to bring global experience through the process, was also an important hallmark that helped us achieve this success. The knowledge gathering exercise throughout the project, which helped to really bring out and to aggregate the stories emerging from the project, was an easy reference for desk review throughout the exercise. Collaboration across the partnership we have with community and other agencies and government institutions in the country also played a leading role in really highlighting the success of the project through the evaluation exercise. So we are really pleased with what we have now achieved, this award, but the award also set us a high bar that we need to follow with the strong support of the Independent Evaluation Office in New York that has been a real partner, both in helping us strengthen our knowledge and our expertise in evaluation, but also our knowledge and expertise in designing winnable, impactful projects. Thank you so much. Over to you.
Thank you, Samuel. Rob, do you have a few comments as well, please?
Yes, please. Now, first of all, thanks to the Independent Evaluation Office for granting us this innovative evaluation award and giving us the opportunity to speak. And also my greeting to all the colleagues here present. Unfortunately, my RR and DRR are both in the BPAC meeting on the Bangladesh country program. So I will speak on behalf of UNDP Bangladesh, but I can tell you that both of them actually were very excited and proud to have this award. So the Partnership of the Tolerant Inclusive Bangladesh, in short PTIB, is a project in the prevention of violent extremism. And we conducted the final evaluation last year in August to inform the design of the second phase of the project. So PTIB started in 2017, and it was conceived as a learning project with the flexibility to adapt to emerging insights and to a changing context. So it started with research, and then research findings were feeding into the design of engagement activities with people, institutions, and the government of Bangladesh. Therefore, the evaluation was much more than assessing whether the project had achieved its results as per the original framework. The evaluation was more about capturing learning and forward-looking, with a strong emphasis on leave no one behind and gender, and following a human right-based approach. So in a relative short time of only 1 month, the consultants have done an exceptional work. So due to the COVID-19 crisis, the evaluation was done virtually. And the consultants, they have spoken with, I would say, a staggering number of 54 project stakeholders, which actually would have never been possible if these meetings were held in person and the consultants had to beat the Dhaka traffic. So the evaluation has guided the product design for the second phase, which we also have conducted virtually. And it helped us to continue as a learning and innovative project. While in the second phase, we will consolidate the results and we will plan for scaling up of successful interventions. But with improved knowledge management, monitoring evaluations and communications, we will become even more effective in implementing our learning and capturing and communicating about our good practices. So finally, from the lessons from COVID, I think we'll definitely bring with us that so much more can be done online. With the virtual evaluation and the project design, we have saved our international consultant from a jet lag, but more importantly, we have reduced our carbon footprint. And let me end with thanking our consultants, our management and our colleagues, because it was teamwork that brought the best out of us with this very challenging task in a difficult time. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Rob, and congratulations again, both to UNDP Sudan and UNDP Bangladesh for the excellent work. Now, if I could, let me pass to my colleague, Heather Bryant. She's going to present the next set of awards based on gender responsive evaluation. Thank you.
Thank you, Alan. Distinguished colleagues, it's really a pleasure to be here with all of you today. Gender equality is an integral aspect of the 2030 Development Agenda as an individual goal, SDG 5, but also as a vital component necessary for achieving progress across all other sustainable development goals. The UNDP Independent Evaluation Office annually reports on UNDP's inclusion of gender in evaluations through the Evaluation Performance Indicator, or EPI, of the UN System-Wide Action Plan on Gender Equality and the Empowerment of Women, known as UN SWAP for short. Gender responsive evaluation has two essential components: what the evaluation examines and how the evaluation itself is carried out. Gender responsive evaluation promotes accountability to gender equality, human rights, and women's empowerment commitments by providing information on the way development programs are affecting men and women differently and contributing towards achievement of these commitments. This is applicable to all types of development programming, not just gender-specific work. I am very pleased, very honored to announce the 2020 Gender Responsive Evaluation Award winners. These are the midterm evaluation of the Inclusive and Equitable Local Development Program, commissioned by UNCDF. The Evaluation Advisory Panel reviewer found that this UNCDF evaluation was comprehensive, realistic, and well presented. It's most heartening to see the careful efforts made to do a gender-based analysis against each evaluation finding. Besides the rigorous methods utilized to validate, analyze, and triangulate the midterm evaluation findings, the manner of presentation stresses the continued importance of gender analysis at all scales, from local to national and across all sectors. The volume of practical insights offered for mid-course corrections in both program design and beneficiary monitoring systems is the report's primary strength. And the second award is for the final evaluation of resilient reconstruction and recovery of vulnerable communities severely affected by the 2015 earthquake, commissioned by UNDP Nepal. Here, the Evaluation Advisory Panel reviewer found this evaluation to have made commendable efforts to incorporate the voices of vulnerable households that received reconstruction and recovery assistance. The report does well to highlight the different types of vulnerabilities among the target population and offers concrete steps on how to improve on desired outputs and outcomes. The succinct presentation of key findings enhanced the utility of this report. Congratulations, UNDP Nepal and UNCDF. I would like to invite the winners to say a few words. First, if I can pass the floor to Ms. Preeti Sinha.
Thank you, Heather. Let me start by thanking the Independent Evaluation Office for this award and for recognizing the importance that UNCDF places on evaluations to measure the accurate results of our work. This award also recognizes the fact that we really believe in empowering women and men, girls and boys in the least developing countries. And it's also a recognition of the fact of our financial toolkits, the instruments that we create to put women and girls at the center of our agenda. More to the point, this award also reflects our commitment to supporting and empowering local governments, financial institutions, and SMEs in LDCs or pre-frontier markets. So in our aspirations to be the UN's flagship agency for the LDC financing, this award is very meaningful to us, and thank you so much for it. The award reflects our UNCDF Independent Evaluation Unit, which is an independent unit within UNCDF, where it has 3 professionals, evaluation professionals, and we contribute 1% of our operational budget to this group and their work over the last 4 years, each year. The evaluation of this particular project, the Inclusive and Equitable Local Development Program, or the IELD, which is a joint initiative implemented alongside UN Women and UNDP, has been critical to UNCDF. And I say this because women's economic empowerment is a thematic area that cuts across all our work. It's of tremendous importance to our organization. And it's really articulated in everything that we do. In the future, gender will be a cross-cutting theme across our 3 practices, and in addition with climate as the other cross-cutting theme. While UNCDF is the recipient of this award, I would be remiss if I did not recognize the role of UNDP and UN Women. We were pleased and fortunate to have the support of UNDP and UN Women for the purposes of conducting country visits to Tanzania and Bangladesh, as well as meeting different partners, including government officials, SMEs, women entrepreneurs, local banks, funding partners, civil society, and women groups. These extensive country visits supported this evaluation with a set of great recommendations for the 3 agencies combined. For UNCDF, this IELD midterm evaluation helps the organization systematically document our financing approach to support women's economic empowerment in the LDCs. This approach, along with the tools that have been shared amongst our team for greater application, supports the gender-responsive local transformative finance. The evaluation was crucial in making sure that this toolbox that we've created for women's economic empowerment was developed and will be used in future initiatives, along with UNDP and UN Women. Looking at the present and future, the evaluation helps UNCDF develop a new stream of work related to gender-responsive, inclusive municipal financing. UNCDF is now implementing an Inclusity program. The Inclusity is built on an innovative concept that aims to reduce growing inequalities in cities by leveraging municipal investments along with regulatory environments in target cities. In short, we take this as a learning example from which we would hope to scale up new programs and initiatives along with our mandate. In closing, I would like to thank Oscar and the IEO, not only for this award, but also for their long-term support to UNCDF's evaluation unit. This support includes co-financing the ongoing evaluation of UNCDF's strategic framework. This is the 2018-2021 that is almost coming to an end. And we look forward to strengthening this partnership with IEO as we move forward into the next planning period, 2022-2025. So thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Preeti, and congratulations again to you and the whole team at UNCDF. I'd now like to invite Ms. Aishani Labe, the resident representative of UNDP Nepal, to say a few words. Aishani?
Thank you so much, Heather, and thank you, as my colleagues mentioned, thank you very much for the entire team of Independent Evaluation Office for the recognition to UNDP Nepal. And I'm very, very privileged, as the others said, to be here today to receive the Excellence Award, not only on behalf of the team, but also I feel, and I really feel, on behalf of the people who really lost their realities, the homes, and their dreams back in 2015. There were 55,000 of them, 11,000 households. 51% of them were women, and for whom this project was designed immediately after the earthquake in 2015. So I feel really privileged to really humbly represent them together with the team and receive this award. The government of Nepal gave support immediately after the earthquake and grant support. But all these people in the target areas, they spent this money elsewhere for the basic and emergency needs, and they could not come back and build their houses. So project basically tried to support them to design and to assess their needs and construct their houses as soon as possible. And also to bring the material that are resistant and resilient, and to provide some interest-free loans, and to get skills to the masons, including the women masons, so challenging the gender norms basically, and to give them some livelihoods and hopes, and particularly some social capital and safety net, so that they can very confidently look into the future that is today. Currently, Nepal is facing, as all of you might be reading, in a very difficult situation with the pandemic. So the confidence that they need at that point of time to face into the future. So the evaluation started last year as we started the lockdown, and which we are currently, and it ran for 10 weeks and it was successfully completed. Why it could successfully complete despite the lockdown was the project was evaluable. The project had a very solid design, thanks to the team who worked on the design back in 2018. And the project had data. Not only just data, the data was disaggregated, sex disaggregated, they were ethnicity disaggregated, disability disaggregated, and age disaggregated. So this helped the evaluator to really look into the data side of it. The project had a very solid document base, evidence base. They were well archived, they were well filed. And in a time that we were all working using Zoom, Skype, and all other media, the information was readily available to the evaluator. And not only that, the people were confidently meeting the evaluator, and they had no fear to give information, meet and discuss about their experience through the focus group discussions, particularly with women and also the very marginalized group of Dalits. So that is how it was conducted. And as you mentioned, Heather, the evaluation illustrated and the results illustrated how gender empowerment, human rights, as much as gender equality, women empowerment, and human rights were addressed through the project. And also the power dynamics were challenged. Nepal, as all of you know, is a very diverse country and very power dynamic country. So how these power relations were challenged through the project, and they were also something that came out importantly is how the federal governments and the local governments embrace the model and replicate the project in their own projects and programs, which for us is an important. So I would like to thank the country office team, the project team, the field team, Bushra's team from BRH, and also Brussels, because this project is funded by the European Union, our colleagues in Brussels, which came with a lot of knowledge, skill sets, and also had very special skill sets on not only about the reconstruction and resilience and recovery, but also gender social inclusion, quality assurance, management information systems, and evaluation. So it's kind of bringing all these special skill sets together, without which we would not have been able to get the award today. Going forward, I would like to mention 3 things. We would like, beyond inputs, outputs, outcomes, and impacts, that this becomes behavior. This becomes culture of how UNDP, how us, all of us, looking into what we are doing every day and how we can become credible and a reference point when it comes to projects and program delivery for sustainable human development. We also would like this to be transferred as a service line to the government, so that national evaluation capacities are built at all levels, including the parliament, the audit, as much as all government departments, to the very local level. as Nepal is expecting to graduate from the least developed status, standards, regulatory frameworks, norms are becoming a must to attract. And this is where I think UNDP can become a very important reference point so that evaluation and research culture is part of all of us for mutual accountability. I thank you very much once again.
On behalf of the IEO, thank you very much, Aishani, and congratulations again to the UNCDF and the UNDP Nepal teams for this great work and their commitment to excellent evaluations. Oscar, I would like to hand over to you now for the main event, the Outstanding Evaluation Awards.
Thank you very much, Heather. Colleagues, as mentioned before, the evaluation award mechanism is based on IEO's annual quality assessment system, which assesses the quality of evaluations across 4 aspects: the design of the evaluation, namely how the TORs are crafted and the evaluation questions put, the report structure and evaluation methodology, if the methodology is appropriate for responding to questions posed in the design phase, the cross-cutting issues, including gender equality and women's empowerment. We just heard about an excellent implementation of that dimension in Nepal, and the quality of the evaluation's finding, conclusions, and recommendations. After 3 rounds of review, 2 outstanding evaluations are finally selected. They are the final evaluation report of the UN Volunteers Talent and Capacity Development Program for an Inclusive UN System for Persons with Disabilities, commissioned by UNV. The UNV evaluation was found to be concise, well-written, and easy to read. The strength of the report is in its well-crafted evaluation design, summarizing the evaluation matrix. The detailed recommendation stimulate learning and consolidate the sustainable prospects of the project, making the report a valuable asset for the organization, program managers, and other stakeholders. And secondly, the midterm evaluation of priming, financial, and land use planning instruments to reduce emission from deforestation, commissioned by UNDP Ecuador. Our evaluation advisory panel reviewer chose this evaluation as the report is detailed, evidence-based, and convincing. Its strength is in the presentation of data-driven evaluation findings, conclusions, and recommendations. The use of tables and figures throughout the report and in the executive summary is one of the best ways to relay the information to program managers and other stakeholders without overwhelming them with a lot of reading. The findings on country ownership gives useful insights on ways and strategies UNDP can adapt to be relevant to the development context. So congratulations to UNV and to UNDP Ecuador. I would like to invite my friend, Toili Kurbanov, UNV Executive Coordinator. Toili, you have the microphone.
Thank you very much, Oscar. Good morning, good afternoon, dear colleagues. I consider it hugely symbolic that today's event is happening on the International Day of the Star Wars. Not that we had any wars, but surely a lot of stars had to align for UNV to be able to produce such an evaluation. First and foremost amongst them is our independent evaluator, Georgi Karaseni, but also the entire UNV team that has been working on this. Rebecca Daniel, Niels Lohman, Olga Zubritska, Wojtek Hledik, Anna Chishkova, Sandra Koch, Martin Hart-Hansen. Like everybody else across the globe last year, they've conducted this evaluation remotely in a virtual format, but going virtual doesn't mean going distant. And so they were able to pull in together the inputs from the UNDP country offices from across the globe, as well as from the UN volunteers from across the globe. We are delighted to be able to accept this award, but at the same time, Oscar and colleagues were mindful that for far too long, the work arrangements in the UN system were not, by and large, conducive for disability inclusion. There's a lot of work that we need to do, a lot of catch up, in order for us to really practice what we preach, and to be able to uphold some of the fundamental human rights of the persons with disabilities, the rights of the persons with disabilities. I, in that sense, believe that the evaluation is offering us, to all of us, a great tool that is consolidating, well beyond validating the project of UNB. It is consolidating the lessons learned and putting forward a series of far-reaching recommendations on how, in the years ahead, we, all of us, can create a more conducive environment for disability inclusion in our workspaces. In that sense, I consider myself in my role as one of the biggest beneficiaries of the evaluation and the recommendations. And on behalf of my organization, I commit to follow through on the recommendations. And I hope the participants will also consider themselves beneficiaries, because thanks to the IEO's work on improving the evaluation culture, the report itself and the recommendations are publicly available. So you can go there to ERC and check what UNV has done and be able to internalize some of these experiences and avoid the mistakes or lessons learned, as we say in the UN, that we have committed, and to be also able to provide, in your turn, inclusive environment for persons with disabilities. Thank you very much, and may peace be upon you. Force be with you.
Thank you very much, Toili. Let me now give the floor to our colleague Matilde from Ecuador.
Thank you very much, Oscar. Good morning. Greetings from UNDP in Ecuador. Well, I should say good afternoon or evening. Thank you, Toili, for reminding us of the day, the Star Wars Day. Well, on behalf of the country office team and the stakeholders involved in this project that has been awarded, it's really an honor for us and a pleasure to receive this award. And I'd like to say this is not an award achieved by one or two professionals, but rather the results of a joint effort and collaborations from all our key stakeholders that include two ministries, the Ministries of Environment and Water and the Ministry of Agriculture and Livestock, local communities and indigenous populations that have been part of this process too, UNDP's Global Climate and Forest team, of course, the project team and the country office teams, and of course, the evaluation team. All of these different actors have shown throughout the process their commitment to the project's objective of reducing the country's deforestation and greenhouse gas emission. And I think this is what drives us not only to implement with passion, but also to strive for excellence in the work by employing highest standards of quality assurance, oversight, and evaluation in our projects. So reflecting on the process, I would like to share with you some of the factors that contributed to the quality of this evaluation. I think the starting point is careful planning. This was one of the first midterms evaluations conducted under the Green Climate Fund. And we were therefore quite careful and consulted with various levels within UNDP on the criteria and the requirements in order to ensure high quality terms of reference. Another key factor was kind of inducing open-mindedness in all stakeholders, to consider an external and neutral vision as an essential input for an impartial assessment of the project. We strengthened the monitoring and evaluation framework. An extensive review of the project's indicators and goals was carried out just to support, as the associate administrator said at the beginning, in assessing the effectiveness of the project strategies and making this a data-driven process. So we provided both access to quantitative and qualitative information to reach the findings and provide practical recommendations for actions on the ground. Another factor was effective communication and continuous coordination between stakeholders to guarantee the active participation and the collection of high quality inputs. And finally, and related to this, ensuring the country ownership with the clear and defined roles and responsibilities that actually paved the way for the leadership of the national counterparts and the involvement of local partners and beneficiaries. And I think this was a key factor that ensured also a positive response to the evaluation and its recommendations. So as the Associate Administrator mentioned in her welcoming remarks, we are convinced that evaluations are a fundamental part of the development process. They strengthen learning and knowledge management. They significantly help decision-making to improve our interventions. They promote transparency, and they make our partners also demand from us quality and results-oriented work. So we, on behalf of the Ecuador Country Office and the teams that have been involved, we would like to thank the Independent Evaluation Office for creating these kinds of incentives and spaces to share our experiences. I think this makes us feel not only more connected during these hard times due to the pandemic, but also prouder of the work we conduct in our respective countries, as well as motivated to continue working, in our case, for an inclusive and greener future. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Matilde, for your kind words. Thank you, Toily, for reminding us about the importance of paying attention to our mandates. And with those words, I think we will have time for a small question and answer session where you would be able to address your questions or comments to the awardees. Over to you, Richard. Thank you.
Thank you, Oscar, and thank you all for your reflections on the process, and congratulations on winning the awards. I'm looking, please, we have a hand from Bushra in RBAP. Bushra, can you open your mic and ask the question? And if it's targeted, please mention who it's for. Thank you. Over to you, Bushra.
Hi, I think you can hear me now. Sorry, I couldn't see the mic before. Thank you very much for this extraordinary initiative on behalf of all country offices and RBM specialists everywhere. As Usha mentioned, it shines a light not just on the work, but also on the work done by the RBM specialists and colleagues in country offices who often feel that they are not seen. I think that the reason why these awards are so important, because evaluations are really the consummation of an entire process, which starts from strong theories of change, monitoring systems, data collection, and where consistently we have to collect the voices of the leaving no one behind component, as they say. So, and unless we have strong evaluations and monitoring systems ourselves, our ability to sell UNDP as a leader for building the national evaluation capacities or core government functions and teaching government and planning institutes on how to monitor development programs is weakened unless we indeed are taking the lead. So my question right now is targeted to Haoliang in terms of the upcoming strategic plan. And what, if any, work is being done with the executive office on not just development of indicators, but how we are going to bring the RBM agenda forward, which includes not just policies, but also monitoring the implementation of our work, which of course, as we all know, is going to strengthen the evaluations and the quality of evaluations that we have at the end. Thank you.
Thank you, Bushra. I think I think we'll go straight to Haoliang and put him on the spot. Sorry to do that on a Tuesday morning, but over to you, Haoliang.
Sure, no, thank you very much for this question. I think the question is very central, to how we actually learn, from our work in the past and build on the evidence that we gather from evaluations and use that evidence to inform our future, program design and to improve its quality. As you will see that the executive office is establishing a new unit, and to ensure that our performance, actually, meets the expectations, right? The CPU, is now established with strong, capacity, on evaluations, in fact, on results-based management. And I think that, shows the commitment of the executive office, to take, the lessons learned from evaluations very seriously. And I think it is true that we really needed to design our results framework, properly, so that our work is is easy to evaluate, right? And but that also presents some challenges, because the one discussion that we have now is a lot of UNDP's contribution to development is not easily measured. Okay, that's a challenge, right? Because when our work, is focused on policy interventions, legislations, and the capacity development, sometimes it's not very easy to measure, the impact of this kind of activities within a limited time frame. So I think so the challenge for UNDP is to balance, the need for availability, within the short term, but also keep a long-term view that our work, really affects systems and affects the way that development is conducted, to follow the sustainable, inclusive, and resilient path. I think so. I think so. It's really a challenge. It's an ongoing process. The fact that some of our units are devoting certain percentage of the budget to evaluation is really good. And so I don't really have good answers, but let's make use of the tools in our toolbox effectively, working very closely, with IEO. I always say that evaluators as well as the auditors are our friends, not our enemies. It's actually, we are much better off, if we work with the evaluators effectively and objectively, using the lessons learned to improve the quality of our programming. So that's an answer I would provide. Not very precise, but it's a question that we need to focus on. I believe. Thank you.
Thank you, Haoliang. And this is a question or a problem that is posed, and I think something that has come across from our award winners today is that their ability to produce good evaluation has been based on the fact that they've been able to build into this the design and the monitoring from the outset. But you're right, our work in IEO, we are faced with having how do we evaluate policy work? And I'd like to come to Oscar, who may have some insights on how we might go about measuring and evaluating that policy work, which makes up such a big part of the work we do at UNDP.
No, thank you very much, Richard, and also Usha, for such a good question. And indeed, this award is really a very good expression and example of how it is possible. But Haoliang put his finger really on the wound. And can we learn from past experience to inform future decisions? And I think when evaluations are well done, yes, certainly. And there is a wealth of information in the Evaluation Resource Center residing there, capturing the experience of UNDP to respond to the needs of countries and program countries. But for that, the programs need to be evaluable, as presented by the example in Nepal, right? And we are learning with new methods on how to strengthen this evaluability. We are doing a reassessment of the quality of our indicators before really completion of our interventions, and bringing this long-term perspective that, as Haoliang did, is indeed something necessary. And we have done this also in partnership. And these partnerships are really reflecting the ability of UNDP to mobilize resources around this. But most important of the factors is our commitment to the people whom we serve. And it's that commitment that is really, I would say, inspiring the creativity to identify better ways to capture what UNDP really does on the ground in support to the achievement of internationally agreed goals such as the SDGs. But Richard, you have been working on this for a long time. Maybe you will also, in addition to your role as driving us through this magnificent award ceremony, can share some thoughts with us.
Well, that proves me that I learned a lesson there from sharing to bouncing the ball to you, Oscar. But no, this is always this is very problematic because, or not problematic, it's a challenge. We go to country offices when we do our ICPEs, and we speak with governments, and we have to work to find where the impact has been. And sometimes we come at a point where policies have not yet been adopted, or policies are still sat in Parliament. Then they have still 2 to 3 years to go. And I think one of the issues that I reflect on with country offices is that the work is not finished in the policy design phase. You know, the partnership with stakeholders for legislation and governance, that is just the beginning. And often the key moment is the work that is done beyond the approval of the legislation and working with governments in implementation of policy, ensuring it is rolled out and it is equally available. So from an evaluative point of view, we look at not just the work that has been done, but we look at the planning that is there to support those pieces of legislation and support to governance going forward. And that's especially important as we often come in at the end of a CPD cycle. So we look back, but we also are making an assessment of, well, this is the work you have done. Where do you see the CPD going forward? And exactly, you know, what are you going to do to make sure that these pieces of legislation and support to governance actually becomes real and has an impact on people, a positive impact on people's lives. And we don't just move into the next CPD, forgetting the work we have done and transitioning on to the next pieces of policy work. So this is what I look at when I go to country offices and I look at governance portfolios, is not just where we have gone, but where we plan to go and how that work will strengthen implementation in the future. So I hope that answers somewhat that question. We are coming to the end of time, but I feel as we have you here, I'd like to do a quick round with our 6 winners. You've told us you've reflected on the evaluations and how you got ensured quality evaluations, but just quickly and in one sentence, what are you going to take forward? What lessons are you going to take forward, both either into your decision making or into the evaluation going forward? And I'm going to start with Toily, and then on to Matilda, and then Robert, and then I'll come round to our other 3 following that. Well, Priti has just joined me on the screen. So Priti, you can go first, if you don't mind.
Thank you. No, I was there. I was just listening in. So for me, you know, the tool on women's economic empowerment, we call it WEE, is very critical now in all the steps, all the projects, evaluations that we undertake. And substantiating that as well is we are part, UNCDF, of something called the Generation Equality Forum, which is the main initiative at the moment on gender issues. And we are leading the work on economic justice and rights. So I would say strengthening access to finance for women, you know, through our digital work, through the infrastructure would be key. So thanks.
Thank you. Toily?
In one sentence, I'd say crossing the river by touching the stones. That's the famous quote attributed to Deng Xiaoping about the initial market reforms in China. But that applies to our ambition to create disability inclusion, conducive environment in the UN system. What we realized based on the evaluation is that we need to cross the river by touching the stones, which is to proceed carefully, proceed on the evidence. In this case, the stones are the evidence. And not to be overambitious. We were at the first stage of the project, we were, in hindsight, were far too ambitious. We need to proceed much more carefully and based on the evidence. Thank you.
Thank you, Toily. Matilda?
The project that was evaluated is related to reducing greenhouse gas emissions and deforestation in the Amazon. And I think the evaluation is very, very handy as we are enlarging our work in this area in particular with the Green Climate Fund. So the evaluation definitely gives us a way of implementing the findings also. So this is definitely a portfolio that is growing and will continue to do so. But perhaps on another note and not related to the evaluation, this evaluation as such, I think one of the positive aspects of the evaluation has also been to recognize that the complexities that this project and many other work in. We know political complexities, social complexities, how to engage stakeholders properly and so on. And I think in that sense, the evaluation and the evaluation team has made a great contribution also in terms of understanding this context. So thank you for that.
Thank you. Robert, would you like to say a few words on how you will take this forward into the next, or how the office is taking the evaluation approach forward into its future evaluations?
Thanks. I think as a project, we will continue to be a learning and an innovative project. But I think we will try to improve more on the monitoring, evaluation, and the knowledge management side, so that we are better actually monitor what we're doing and capture good practices. And then maybe by improving our M&E, maybe your next award, we might have a chance to become the Outstanding Excellence Award. Thank you.
Thank you, Robert. Ashani?
Thank you. You know, I'm from the generation that as a program officer, I had to have that yellow book at my desk all the time, right? So, but then I think we have lost those only the monitoring, evaluation, and whoever the quality assurance person, it's his or her work. So I think it's everybody's work, and that culture, the leadership has to bring that. And that is one thing that I would like to gender, or no matter what the issue-based evaluation we bring, but the evaluation we'll try to implement. Thank you.
Thank you. And Samuel?
Thank you, Richard. The one quality of this, of the evaluation, is the partnership that emerged out of it. Partnership with the donors, with government, with community leadership around the project. Actually, just yesterday, I had a meeting with the lead donor of the project, the Swedish International Development Agency, that expressed real appreciation of the quality of the evaluation. It is even making available additional funds. We have 12 million. To expand the project into other communities. So the deepening of the partnership as a result of the project is something of the evaluation. It's a good outcome that we are taking to scale. The other thing that came out is the empowerment component of this project, the community leadership around it, and knowing the challenges, the complex challenges in South Sudan, building on that leadership. Community leadership for cohesion is something that we want to drive going forward. Also, the project is a community-based project, but we are in a context of a peace agreement. So one of the things that was discussed with the donor partner is how do we begin to create a bridge, an interface between the national level peace agreement and the community successes that we are getting out of this project. So that interface is what we are now calling the PAC Plus, and additional funds being made available to expand the project onto a vertical escalation to the national level to embrace the national peace agreement that is ongoing. Thank you.
Thank you. Sorry, go ahead, Samuel.
No, I just want to underline the partnership with government, especially the Ministry of Peace Building, and the National Reconciliation Commission, and all of the colleagues at the government level that have made this project possible. Access is key, and it's through the government leadership that we've managed to get access to implement this project. Thank you.
Thank you, Samuel. And I'm glad that evaluation has proved extremely useful, bringing in additional funds for the next stage of the project. I'm glad to hear that. So unless there are any more questions, I'd like to move on to a closing ceremony. We're honored to have with us one of our evaluation advisory panel members, and also the judge for the Innovation Evaluation Awards, who kindly read several of the evaluations that were nominated and came and recommended 2. Now, I just want to point out that we recommended 2 because the quality was so high that we could not make a decision or a distinction between evaluations in each category. So there is not a 1-2 here. It is both equally awarded in each category because the quality was good, so good, and we couldn't differentiate. And so we wanted to honor both equally. So over to Claudia Maldonado, who's our, was the award, who was the reviewed the awards for the innovation And as mentioned, she's a professor of public administration at the Center for Research and Teaching in Economics in Mexico City. Claudia, over to you. Thank you.
Good morning or good afternoon. First of all, I would like to congratulate and to thank IEO for this initiative. I am an academic who believes in evidence. I have been a promoter of evaluation and knowledge usage for decision making for many years. And I'm also a woman and a citizen of the Global South. So the first thing I want to say is that I was struck by the high quality of these evaluations. I was inspired by their ability to be methodologically robust, adaptive, and still fully active and creatively committed to inclusion and showing the ability to walk the talk of the SDGs for real. This is something that was very striking, very inspiring. And I want to really commend the award recipients for giving us a real world shining light and inspiration to see how there is a saying in Spanish, how we can make virtue out of necessity. This has been a year of great human suffering, formidable development setbacks that will require the best of our collective intelligence, our commitment, our political engagement to mobilize relevant, pertinent, inclusive, and committed to development evidence and evaluation results to enhance the ability that we have as a global team to strengthen our efforts to strengthen the capacity to self-correct on the go and to be able to share learnings, lessons, and insights from making mistakes, which is also an important source of learning in a way that is cost-effective and that is really used. I honestly think that these evaluations are a reflection of a new vision at the UNDP and specifically at IEO that is giving us thought leadership, showing a real commitment, not only to the quality of evaluation itself, but to thinking of evaluation as a key to decision-making, as a strong partner to building back better, and as a very, very important ally for inclusion. Inclusiveness, resilience, commitment to leave no one behind are things that we usually hear of in development settings and in politicians' speeches and in government documents. And citizens of the Global South are used to being very skeptical about these grand narratives when sometimes on the ground, real world experience tells you otherwise. Through these evaluations, I honestly tell you that we have seen that there is an increasing ability to walk the talk. We are seeing different types of evaluations with a clear commitment for inclusion. And we are seeing technological innovations and methodological adaptations being placed at the service of good knowledge generation, but most importantly, being placed at the service of people on the ground. This is a formidable accomplishment. This is something we should be pushing forward. And this is something for which I want to thank and to congratulate the recipient awards, because what you are doing is giving us an inspiration, a valuable lesson, and it's showing the evaluation community and the decision-making community that this can be done. It can be done well, even in the hardest of times. Thank you.
Thank you, Claudia. Very wise words, and it certainly has been a very difficult year, and I find it remarkable that under the circumstances, UNDP still managed to do 250 evaluations, and under even those circumstances, the quality went up. Not just the 6 winners, but across the board, we saw almost a doubling in the quality of evaluation, improvement in evaluation. So well done across the board, not just to the winners, but UNDP as a whole. Now I'd like to hand over for his final words, Oscar Garcia, the director of IEO.
Thank you very much, Richard. Again, congratulations to the 6 award winners. And thank you for your leadership your leadership, your commitment to a results-based agenda, to a results-oriented organization to make a difference on the ground. Your experience and insights is truly inspiring and encouraging, as just so well said by Claudia. I also would like to thank Usha and Haoliang for joining us today, for being supportive of evaluation, as always. IEO, BPPS, and UNDP have been working closely to enhance the monitoring and evaluation function of the organization over many years, and it's starting to bear fruits as the improved quality of decentralized evaluations in 2020 is testament to. And so are these awards. Thank you, Claudia Maldonado, and the other members of the Evaluation Advisory Panel for engaging into these initiatives and for participating in the award ceremony. Your valuable support is really critical for guiding us on how to better do our job. And I would like to thank my colleagues who have been working very hard on this support to decentralized evaluations. Richard Jones, Heather Bryan, and Jean Shang, who managed and oversaw the selection process for the award, along with Michelle C., Anish Pratham, Sasha, and Jan, who provided support in the launching of the award and on today's event. I look forward to seeing more high-quality evaluations throughout 2021. Let's continue our journey and collectively build a robust culture of evaluation within our organization to improve our capacity to build a more inclusive and sustainable development pathway for all. Thank you very much for your presence today. Have a great day.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Thank you, Oscar.
Bye.
Thank you,
Thank you.
panelists. Thank you, participants.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Thank you very much.